Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about taint, untaint, replace as well as target commands in Terraform. So in this video we are going to discuss how these commands work and when are we actually going to implement these commands. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay, now let us consider this scenario. Okay, now in this, let's consider the DevOps engineer over here, right? And the DevOps engineer has applied, okay, that is, it has executed the apply command. So once the apply command is executed, whatever we have defined in our Terraform configuration files will be actually deployed on the cloud, right? So let's say if we have defined two VMs over here in the Terraform configuration files. On application, these two VMs will be getting created, right? And this action will also update the state file. So state file will contain information of these two VMs, right? So this is a normal scenario. Now, suddenly what happens is the application that you have deployed on this particular VM fails and it causes some misconfiguration on your VM. Okay, now the problem is that you have two different, here also you are running an application, right? But this application is working fine. You don't want to destroy this. You only want to destroy and recreate this particular VM, right? So what you do is you just try to taint this particular VM, which tells our state file that VM1 is misconfigured or is not in a good state. Since it is not in a good state, it should be recreated. Okay, so instead of destroying and recreating the whole infrastructure, this is just an example that we are talking about here, like just two VMs. But in real life scenario, you won't have just two VMs over here in your cloud, right? You would be having load balancer, you would be having subnets, VPC, so many things, right? So you can't destroy and recreate everything from scratch, right? So in order to just remove a particular resource and replace it or recreate it in the next apply, then in that case we make use of Terraform Taint. Okay, so let me scroll over here. You can see what we do is we understood that something is wrong with this particular VM. Then what we do is we execute Terraform Taint. So what this does is it just marks this resource as degraded or damaged in the state file. So state file knows that this VM is not in a good state and needs to be recreated in the next apply. So whenever you apply or execute this command apply for the next time, it is going to get recreated. Okay, so this is what happens in the next apply, right? So after taint, the state file gets updated. Once the state file gets updated, it says that VM1 is tainted. VM1 over here is not in a Good state. Now the state file knows this. Now the third thing, when you apply it, what the Terraform is going to do is it is going to destroy this previously created VM which is degraded, and it creates a new one for us without disturbing the rest of the existing infrastructure. Okay, so this is how it is going to work. So the number of commands that you will have to apply is, let me just show. So the first thing that you will have to run is Terraform Taint. Now in this case it won't do anything. It is just going to make changes in the state file. It is just going to update the state file. Once the state file is updated, whenever you apply Terraform apply command, it is going to recreate. That is, it is going to destroy and create the degraded or damaged resource. Okay, so this was all about Terraform Taint. Okay, so let's go on our console and try to execute this, and let's understand it practically. So over here you can see that we have already created a configuration for two AWS instances, one which is for the web server and the other one for the backend server. Okay, and these two instances are already been deployed on our cloud. Okay, you can see this backend server as well as web server over here, right? Now suddenly what happens is suddenly there is a misconfiguration on this web server. Something goes down, like an application is not working fine on this particular server. Okay, the instance is getting degraded or damaged. Then in that case what can be done is, let's go to our uh, terminal and execute the command terraform taint, and which resource we want to taint as misconfigured is the web server. So what I'll do is I'll mention AWS instance, right? Whatever the name of the resource is, like over here it is AWS instance, and specifically the identifier that we have used over here, dot web. Okay, so this will be fine, and let's enter. Now over here you won't see any change. No change will be observed over here. The only change that will be happening is at the state level, that is Terraform state. Okay, so what will happen is that the resource instance AWS instance dot web has been marked as tainted. Okay, so once we mark it as tainted, in the next apply it is going to be recreated. Okay, so how this is going to happen, let's first try to understand what it shows in the Terraform plan. Clear the screen once again and execute this command once again. So over here you can see one to add and one to destroy, which means that whichever resource we have tainted, it is going to be destroyed and then recreated. So the same thing will should be visible in the plan as well. Okay, see, here you can see AWS instance.web is tainted, so must be replaced. So it will be first getting destroyed and recreated again. Okay, so this is how taint works. But taint is something that is deprecated command. Okay, so we don't use this command. Now, why do we don't use it? See, once you execute Terraform taint, right, it gets tainted. But until and unless we apply the changes, the actual effect of taint is not visible. So between that period, from when it is being tainted and when it is getting applied, there is a kind of duration where anything can happen. It might get applied by some other developer without even noticing that this particular instance is tainted already, right? Though in smaller teams it won't be a problem, but in larger teams where a number of developers are working on the same repository, this can cause a problem. Okay, so there is another command to untaint it, that is untaint. Okay, so we are not applying any changes over here. Okay, because I just wanted to show what will actually happen when taint is there. So I will just do terraform untaint AWS instance dot web, enter. Now this resource will get untainted and it is not going to get replaced in the next apply. How do we know that? Again, let's do terraform apply, sorry, plan, terraform plan. See, there are no changes. Why? Because we untainted our resource. Initially, it was showing us that it will be recreated, right? But now it is not showing anything. So this is how taint and untaint work. So I also explained the drawback of using taint. So the proper solution for this is that we can make use of replace command. Okay, so with the replace command, what happens is we use replace command at the time of apply itself. Okay, let me show you how we actually do it. So basically we execute this replace command terraform in this particular way: terraform apply hyphen replace. Okay, and whatever resource you want to replace, now in our case it's like AWS instance dot web, and it's not only for AWS instance, it is for all of the resources that we create using Terraform. Okay, so that is how we actually use replace command. Okay, so over here there is no risk, right? Because we are doing it at the same time when we are going to apply. Right, we are directly instructing it while applying itself, like please replace this instance. It is something wrong with this instance, right? So let's try to do this. Okay, let's try to execute this command. Let's go over here, terraform apply hyphen replace equals to AWS underscore instance dot web. Fine, our command is ready, and enter. It will be asking for confirmation, and here in the plan you can see one to add and one to destroy. So we don't have to do any tainting part or anything like that. We are just directly asking Terraform, please replace this while applying. Okay, please replace this instance. That's all. Okay, so let's first try to see our resource over here, the web server. The IP over here is dot 31. Okay, now let's try to say yes to it, enter. Now it is going to destroy our first instance, that is web server, and it will be recreating another one. So over here you can see that the web server is getting destroyed. We can also check the same from here as well. Okay, let me refresh it. You can see that, let me remove this. Over here, the other one has been terminated. The previous one is terminated, and we can see the new one is getting initialized over here. Okay, so it started creating it, right? So it created also, and this is how our replace command works. Now, most of the students ask me, like, there is one more command, that is Terraform apply hyphen target equals to AWS instance dot web. And again we have another command, that is Terraform destroy target whatever is it, right? AWS instance dot web. Okay, now, so most of the students ask me, like, what, instead of using replace, why can't we use this particular command? That is, first we can destroy with the target, and then we can apply the changes with the target. Now, let me first explain what target is. So basically, target command is used in order to execute that particular apply or destroy for a specific resource. Okay, like, um, in common or in general, what do we use is we use Terraform apply, right? Or let's say Terraform apply hyphen hyphen auto hyphen approve. This is what is the command that we use for all of the resources that are present within our configuration. But if I want to target only a specific resource, then in that case we make use of target. Now most of the students ask me, like, here we are not recreating the whole stuff. What we are doing is we are just destroying whatever we want to destroy, and we are recreating it. So we are not disturbing other resources over here. So this can also be the solution, right? This can also be the solution. Or else, let's first try to understand how the target works. Okay, let me show you this. Let me destroy everything from here. Terraform destroy. So both of them are going to get destroyed. Okay, so now both of the resources have been destroyed. Okay, so let's check it over here. So all of them have been terminated. Okay, so now let me change the names. Let's say server 1, let's say server 2. Okay, now let's try to create resources with the help of target. Now I don't want to create both of them. I just want to create this particular um, instance, that is server 1. Okay, so how do I do that? Let me show you. Terraform apply hyphen target equals to AWS underscore instance dot web, enter. Now it is specifically going to create the first instance for me. Okay, so did you get it? Like, it is just used for a specific um, instance or a specific resource to be created, not the entire infra. So in that case, we can make use of target, right? That was my question. So over here, the question from most of the students is that, like, if we can destroy and apply with target, then also we are not disturbing other resources. Then in that case, why use replace? So the answer to this is that there might be multiple kind of dependencies. Okay, so we have multiple dependencies among the resources, right? Like, let's say if a security group needs to be created first, right? And it should be added to our AWS instance as well, right? Now, in this case, our AWS instance resource is depending on security group. So there are few dependencies over here, right? In that case, the target won't help in case of dependencies, right? It can recreate, but what about the dependencies? So in that case, replace plays a vital role. So this is the reason why replace is the best possible solution for us to use when we have to specifically replace the damaged or degraded resource. Okay, so this was all about that we have learned over here. So if you have any of the doubts, you can ask in the comment section, or if possible, let's try to recap whatever we have learned, right? So the first thing that we have learned is Terraform Taint command, right? Then we learned Untaint command, which works the same opposite of the Untaint command. Then after that, we understood how we use replace command and how is it more better than our taint. Okay, similarly we also understood how the target command works and why is it not relevant and why replace is the only solution for the correct kind of replacement. Okay, so these are all of the commands. Okay, and it was asked in one of the interview questions as well. So always, while preparing for interview, just try to understand how these commands are actually being implemented practically. Just having a theoretical knowledge is not going to work. Okay, so if you have any doubts in this, you can just comment it out in the um, comment section, and also let me know what type of videos you want. Also discuss the topics on Terraform also, which you might want me to cover in my playlist. So please mention it in the comment section, and if anything else is required, do let me know. So I hope this video was useful to all of you. So thank you so much and have a nice day.